Due to the various uncertainties surrounding my position as it relates to the team's new ownership, I've decided to resign as the head coach of the New York Jets. I've given this decision very careful consideration and would like to wish the entire New York Jet organization, the players, the coaching staff, and the new ownership the very best of luck for a prosperous future. I doubt there would be any questions at this point.
That's 20 years ago earlier this month when Bill Belichick decided he wanted nothing to do with the Woody Johnson regime in New York. Bill Parcells handing the baton to Bill Belichick. He held it for a day. He wrote it on a cocktail napkin. I'm out.
Yeah.
Later in the month, specifically January 27, 2000, the Patriots and the Jets work out a trade. Bill Belichick becomes the head coach. The Jets get a first-round pick in 2000, a fourth-rounder, and a seventh-rounder in 2001. The Patriots get back Belichick, a fifth-rounder in 2001, a seventh-rounder in 2002. And that was January of 2000.
Yeah.
April of 2000, Tom Brady gets selected with a sixth-round pick, and he tells Robert Kraft at that moment, the first time he meets him,
right,
I'm the best decision your team has ever made.
Right.
Is the better decision Brady or is it Belichick?
Well, I mean, they're both phenomenal, amazing decisions.
That's not the question.
But I got to go with Belichick. I mean, just to go down that. I mean, again, you look at that right now and you go a first, a fourth, and a seventh, and you got back a seventh and a fifth for it. I mean, that's like the greatest trade ever. For
and
what
he's been your coach
results.
for 20 years.
20 years, nine Super Bowl appearances, won 6 of them. I mean, yeah, that's amazing. I just still can remember that going down. I think the first thing that always jumps out to me about that whole thing there more than anything is how charismatic, if you watch the rest of that press conference, how charismatic Bill Belichick was, smiling, laughing at people, doing that type of stuff, where it's slowly he is not that way in front of the mic.
But I think that was a different context.
Yeah, okay.
Then, because there's nothing to hide at that point.
Right.
There's no broader strategy.
Sure,
Not trying to protect players. I just want the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that at that press conference, he was kind of unhinged and rambling a little bit. I didn't know much about him at the time, but
Right.
I wasn't impressed by that press conference.
Right.
Now, when he gets introduced as a member of the Patriots, he's found his home, everything's fine. I still vividly recall, because he was 5-11 in 2000 with the Patriots.
Right.
And I recall listening to ESPN radio on a Saturday in May of 2001, and Mel Kiper was one of the hosts that day, and he was making the case for the 2001 Patriots going winless.
Jeez.
Winless. And that's look, we got to fill the hours with something. But that's where the Patriots were after 1 year of Bill Belichick. Nobody knew that Belichick was going to become Belichick. Nobody even knew who Tom Brady was at the NFL level. All we knew was he was at Michigan and he was okay, but he got drafted in the 6th round and he goes into that churn of backup quarterbacks that you never hear from again.
Yeah.
Then
Magic
the world
happened.
changes.
Magic
the world
happened.
changes,
Right.
and the world has remained changed for 20 years.
Yeah.
6 Super Bowl championships, 9 Super Bowl appearances in 20 years. They're in the Super Bowl almost half of the time that Belichick's been the head coach. It's amazing.
It's the greatest transaction to ever happen in the NFL. I mean,
Better than Herschel Walker?
Yeah, I do. I think it is. I think, yes. I mean, the Herschel Walker one, I would go as second. Yeah, it set up Dallas Cowboys to win 3 out of 4 Super Bowls, definitely. But this is like the greatest football mind in the history of the sport, and it's not even close. And he changed, like you're talking about, a franchise who was kind of just a afterthought into now the gold standard of the NFL. I mean, everybody is trying to be the New England Patriots, and nobody's going to be able to do it. So just an absolute, an amazing coach. And, yeah, that was an amazing time when that all went down. I mean, Parcells tried to pull a quick one on Belichick.
Well, and in hindsight, the team that benefited the most from the Belichick transaction and the aftermath of it was the Oakland Raiders, because they were able to get 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and $8 million in cash for John Gruden when he had 1 year left on his contract.
Right.
And all the Buccaneers had to do was wait a year,
and
they would have gotten him for nothing, right? That's how. And I think that you look at the timeline, it was right after the Belichick trade turns into a championship.
Right.
And the Buccaneers were flailing to find a coach. They almost hired Bill Parcells.
Right.
Think about how all these threads come together. They came close to getting Bill Parcells. Mike Tannenbaum had already taken a job with the Bucs. That's how close it was. It all falls apart, and they're floundering around.
And Gruden was a hotter commodity than Belichick at that point.
And Gruden delivered a Super Bowl in his first year.
First year.
But not like Belichick. I mean, Gruden paid off immediately.
Yeah.
Belichick paid off almost immediately and over 2 decades.
Well, yeah.
And he's still paying off.
Well, I mean, we got into that 2001 season, and they didn't get off to a great start that year either, right? And that's when, of course, Bledsoe Bledsoe had the chest injury.
Yeah, and they were 5-5 through 10 games.
But yeah, that's what I mean.
They
You're
lost to the
sitting
Rams
there,
in the regular season.
You're wondering, going, I don't know, what this team is going to be. But they caught fire at the end of that season. And then, of course, went into the playoffs, won the Tuck Rule game, went into Pittsburgh, won a game there when Brady hurt his ankle, right? And Bledsoe came in and threw a touchdown pass to him. Yeah, that was a cool moment. But and then, of course, that Super Bowl, to me, was one of my favorite Super Bowls ever. Between, the clutch drive at the end with Brady, the Ty Law pick six, there's just so many great moments. The greatest show on turf, all of that. Nobody expected the Patriots to be able to pull off that upset, and they did it.
There was, for a little bit of time after the AFC Championship, a sense that maybe Drew Bledsoe had his job back.
Right.
Because Tom Brady got injured.
Weren't sure. Right.
Bledsoe came in, they won the game. And Bill Belichick shut that crap down quickly.
Yeah.
Brady's the guy. I
Right.
mean, that was the final slap in the face to Bledsoe, and he was out the door, and they got a first-round draft pick for him.
Yeah.
I mean, they got their first-round draft pick back they gave up for Bill Belichick. Not a bad trade. You move on from the quarterback you were done with anyway. You got Tom Brady now. But, yeah, it was a strange time because we had no idea that the Patriots were going to become the Patriots, that they were going to win 3 in 4 years, and then they'd have a 10-year gap before they'd go on another run of 3 more in 4 years.
Yeah, right.
And aren't here. It just feels weird that they're not one of the teams in the Super Bowl.
It does. I agree. I've had moments over the last week where I go, man, this is weird not talking about the Patriots. I mean, they've become such a mainstay here at this event. And, hey, again, I'll say it. I was partly sad when they lost on Wild Card Weekend. It's like I was at the end of a dynasty. I don't know what to think. I don't know where the Patriots are going to be going forward.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.